we established the 3 historical missions and the 4 ideological principles. To establish the missions and the principles, we would start with a question. Question number 1 was, do the Africans need, deserve, and are they entitled to prosperity like other peoples in the world, or are they not so entitled? That's the question we would ask. Are the Africans entitled, and do they deserve prosperity like all the other people in the world? If the answer is yes, the next question would be, where does prosperity come from? Can prosperity sustainably come from begging? Because you remember the issue of aid. Can you get prosperity through aid? Our answer was no. Prosperity can only come from producing a good or a service, which is what Honorable Kaseji is saying, by being a wealth creator, producing a good or a service by an individual, a family, a company, etc., and selling it sustainably with Echibaro. Echibaro is the assessing the profitability. In that way, you will get income and solve your problems. That, however, raises another question. Who will sustainably buy our goods or our services reliably with predictability? So, the third question, who will sustainably buy our goods or services reliably and with predictability? When we studied the African tribes, including my own, the Banyankore Bahororo, we discovered that intra-tribal trade is either limited or completely absent. Why? It is because these communities sometimes produce similar products. The Banyankore Bahororo, for instance, all have milk, beef, bananas, etc. A does not buy from B and vice versa. Therefore, identity, being one tribe, does not necessarily solve the problem of prosperity. Happily, we discovered a ready solution, and this was Uganda, that multi-tribal unity, which was already there. You had the Banyankore Bahororo there, but you also had other people. Even in the colonial times of the small enclave economy, the business complementarities among the tribes were already coming up. I was able to pay for education on account of 2 categories of actors. Category 1 was Amos Kaguta, my father, who had cattle he had inherited from his ancestors. Hence, those cattle were Enshuji, the cattle of Jaja, inherited from ancestors. He could therefore sell some of them and pay my school fees. The problem, however, was that there was neither a single Munyankore Mhororo cattle trader at that time, nor was there a developed beef market in the area of Ntungamo. You know where Ntungamo is? You know where Ntungamo is, you people? You may not find it on the Uganda map, you may not find it. So in Ntungamo, we had neither traders of cattle, nor did we have a meat market at that time. That is how the second category of rescuers came in. The people who rescued me to go to school. These were 2 Baganda, one of them called Warusimbi Mpanga, and another one called Buchenya. Buchenya, the Banyankore would call him Buchenya, but the Baganda would call him Bukenya. And then there was also a white man, Shea, was a white man share. Warusimbi was buying cattle for the Kampala beef market, Bukenya for the Mbarara market, and share for the Kirembe copper mines workforce. So it was these three people who supported my education. Warusimbi would buy the cows to bring them to Kampala. Bukenya would take them to the small Mbarara market. Share would take the cows to Kirembe market. Even at that time, the complementarity among the tribes was becoming clear. But even in the pre-colonial times, the inter-zones trade had become clear. Textiles, Emyanda, were coming from the coast in Zanzibar. The glass beads in Kwanzi were from the same source, and so were the guns. Ivory, Emino, however, was coming from the interior of the African continent, and so was the salt, the backcloth, the hose, etc. It is this historical mission of the need for prosperity that led us to discover the first ideological principle of our movement, of the NRM, as the minister was saying: patriotism, love Uganda. Why? It is because you need it for your prosperity as a market, among other advantages. However, learning from the history of other countries and also seeing what is happening in Uganda once it settled down and started recovery, we discovered that the internal market is not enough. As we speak today, Uganda has got surplus of milk, maize, bananas, beef, sugar, cement, steel products of certain types, etc., as the minister was telling you here. Where do we sell all these? This is when the NRM asked the Ugandans the following questions. Number one, have you heard of East Africa? Because you are stuck with your products. Have you heard of East Africa? Because you are busy with the tribes. Some people are telling you, we, as Banyankore, we, as Baganda, we, as Acholi, some of those pharaohs are busy telling you about the tribes. Ifanga abasoga bene, we as this one. But why don't we solve the, if those are enough, why do we have a problem of surplus milk, surplus sugar, surplus this? And this is where the NRM said, have you heard of East Africa? Have you heard of Africa? Why don't you check whether they can buy what we produce and also buy what they produce? Indeed, as I speak now, East Africa and Africa are already buying parts of our surpluses.